Thank you very much, Dicha, for the kind introduction. Hello to my friends in India. I see there are some people outside of India, so hello to everyone. It's a special time of year. If we don't get a chance to talk by the end of the year, it's happy holidays to all of you. I know in India we just had a big event there, big holiday, so happy Diwali too. So, you know, Aditya was sharing with you, I was fortunate to start back in January 2001 when NHT started back in Dallas, Texas. That was where the original head office was. And I've had, for those of you who don't know me, I've had a 27-year history of network marketing. I got started in the industry in 1993. And prior to getting involved in the industry, I used to manage health and racquetball clubs. This was the first time that I actually, in my life, experienced freedom. It was a great job. I was hiring people. I built that business up to multi-millions of dollars, even though I was in my early 20s. I was very proud of what I accomplished there in the fitness industry. And in Christmas 1992, the owners came to me and said, "Joe, you've done such an incredible job. You have built this club into multi-millions of dollars of profit, and we now can sell it." So I can remember like this was yesterday. I was with some of my employees when they had announced it to myself and the other management team, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have this incredible amount of profit sharing. And the next day, I realized that the owners they just bolted. They left. There was about 10 of them, and there was no profit sharing. All I got was a thank you. It was a defining moment in my life, a major defining moment in my life, because I realized at that moment, newly married, I just became a father, that I was building someone else's dream instead of my dream. And I realized, and I thank God I was smart enough to understand that there was a possibility for me to not happen to me and myself and my family again, 5 years later, 10 years later, by me working for someone else. So at that moment, I said to myself, I was never going to work for someone else again. And I proudly can share with you, I've never worked for someone else again 27 years later. So that was a very scary time for me because I didn't know anyone that was really successful. I didn't know anyone that was a major earner in business. I knew from the club business that the guys that were playing squash during the day, there was one clue there that they gave me. They all had businesses of their own. So they had created a business where they could go off during the afternoon and play squash, while their employees were working. So a couple of months later, I'm looking to do a business. I didn't know what a business was, what a good business was. I didn't know where to go into. I didn't know the field that I was going to go into, but something changed my life that day. I don't know what compelled me, but I came home one afternoon and I started to write down what I wanted my life to look at like 10 years from that moment. And I just had one of those inspirational moments. One by one, I was planning my life 10 years from that moment. And the top 3 things on that list, the first thing is I wanted to work from home. Because I was born in Canada. My parents emigrated from Portugal here to Canada. And to create a middle-class family here in Canada, my parents were working all the time. They had a cleaning business. They had a full-time job. So they were always working. So I remember as a child, when I have a family, I'm going to spend as much time with my family as possible. So the very first thing on my list is I wanted to work from home. So this was 1993. Nobody was working from home back then, but I had it on my list. I didn't know anybody who worked from home. It wasn't part of a lifestyle. but I wrote it down. I was going to work from home. The second thing on my list is I knew the key to lifestyle. So on my list, I wanted to travel the world, take my family with me, and I knew I needed a source of income like Elvis Presley, that he was getting paid every single day, every single month, every single week, and he was dead. So I knew the key to lifestyle was to find a way where I can earn money passively. And then the third thing on the list, so if I was going to work from home, I might as well fall in love with the home that I was living in and working out of. So those were the top three things on my list. And I immediately fell in love with it. It became my purpose. Every day I was visualizing that I had already achieved that. And I had so many other things on my list. So I really started to just focus on the one thing, which was my dream home. I knew if I could have this dream home, everything else on my list would come about. And it's amazing when you fall in love with your dream. When you fall in love with your dream, the universe must give it to you. And here's what happened is about a month later or so, I'm in my local library. Again, this is pre-internet, so I'm looking for a plan B. I'm studying business. I'm just feeding my mind with all these business ideas. And a gentleman in the middle of the library, a businessman, walked up to me and introduced me to network marketing. Here's the thing. We exchanged business cards, and he only followed up with me a month later. I guess he didn't think I was that impressive of a prospect. And he invited me to a local hotel at a restaurant there. We sat down and he put some products on the table, and it was the worst one-on-one presentation. He did not tie into what I wanted in business. So he followed up like he should be with his upline on a three-way call, but he waited another month to contact me. So he did everything wrong, except for the follow-up a month later, should be done within 24 hours. So he followed up with me with his upline. His upline told me a story that he was in the business for 5 months. This is how much money he was making. Why don't you join with me? And we met at a McDonald's. And he invited, so I like this gentleman. And he, by the way, he was from Delhi. His name was Tony Chanana. And he invited me to a meeting, to a meeting at a hotel that Saturday. I went to that presentation, and within 2 minutes of that presentation, I'm sitting in the back of the room, and I knew that that was the vehicle to my dreams, that network marketing was the vehicle to my dreams. So when you fall in love with your dream, guys, when you fall in love with your dream, you know your purpose. The universe will pave the way for you. And when the universe kind of hits over your head with a hammer, you know it. And that's what happened to me that day in that June 23rd, 1993. I even know the date. I know the time. It was just about 10 o'clock in the morning, because that was one of my defining moments in my life. I had this from head to toe. I knew that this vehicle was for me. God was speaking through me in such a big way that day. I went home, spoke to my wife, and said, look, dear, I found my business. I'm never going to quit. I made a commitment right there to her that I was going to be successful, and I was never going to quit, and not even thinking of quitting. And that's another key to success, ladies and gentlemen, is when you make a commitment to yourself, to your family, to the universe, that you're not going to quit on your dream, on your business. You are invoking the biggest, the most powerful force in this universe. Most people in this world, and you see it all the time in network marketing, they get into a business, they want to make money, they don't make money in 90 days, 120 days, and they end up quitting and looking for another business. It's because they've never made that commitment. So when I went out and started recruiting in that business, I didn't know anything. people started telling me, Joel, yes, I want to join you. Yes, I want to join you. In my first 90 days in that business, I exploded, did not know what I was doing because people were feeling my commitment. They knew that I was on purpose. I didn't even have to tell them. They knew that I was on purpose. 3 years into that business, I'm qualifying for the top position in that company, and the company went bankrupt. And the reason why I'm sharing with you is I want to just help you understand my path to NHT. So 1996, I made more money in the first 4 months than I made the previous 2 years. I'm building the business correctly. I'm qualifying for the top position, and the company goes bankrupt. And it was like losing your first love. And I had about a day where I was just wallowing in my pity. And I woke up the next morning and said, Joe, you can't do this. You got to feed your family. You have a dream to attain. You told everyone that you were never going to quit. You had 100% commitment. The company failed you. But I also said to myself, the universe works perfectly. That this had to happen for me to accomplish my dreams. This had to happen. The path was set for me. And that's what happens when you fall in love with your dream. The path is set. So my business partner, Dan, who was in my upline at that time, we sat together and said, Dan, we've got to look for a new home. Let's go together as a team, strengthened team. We started visiting lots of different companies, and we got involved in a company called Care International in the fall of '96. We ended up becoming the #1 distributor there. By 2 years in the business, this is when the internet started coming along. And I realized at that moment that the world was going to change, that the network marketing was going to change. And for the business to capitalize on business globally, this is what the internet is going to do, is you got to go global. So we kept on bothering the management. We got to go global, got to go global. In the year 2000, comes along, and the company comes to us. We got this Allura product that we got exclusive rights to. We just created a revolutionary e-commerce software platform, which nobody had in the industry. And instead of doing it under the Care logo, we want to start a brand new company. And I thought, wow, why not do it under the Care business? And the more we thought about it, the more we mastermind. That's how the NHT started in January 2001. So when that's 20 years later now, ladies and gentlemen, you all know the story. And this is so important for all of you to understand. So my story goes back 93, where I made that huge commitment. All my dreams that I had back in 93 all came true because of NHT. Do you see how the path went along when I fell in love with a dream and I made a 100% commitment? So let's talk about commitment in network marketing as business. So this is a topic that's really dear to my heart because I care more for people. And if you get to work with me longer here over the years with NHT, you'll know that one of my strengths, and some say some of my weakness, is I care more for people and their success than people care for them. I'm willing, I could have retired many years ago, but my dream here with NHT is to create a legacy company. My work ethic is unmatched. I'm willing 24/7 to help anybody attain their dreams. I've got a passion. But the first thing that I tell people is that when you get involved in our business, is you immediately have to have, number one, a 3 to 5 year business plan. Okay? You got to set up proper expectations for your business. There's a great story with NHT Global, Huna. out of California, Los Angeles, California. When she got started at NHT in 2002, she was a single mother, no business background. I think her first year, she earned about $500. Think about it. If she didn't make that commitment, if she didn't, she was like most people. She would have been out of the business. You know, a few years later, she has earned the highest weekly income in NHT. Okay, think about that. And she has become a global ambassador. She was one of our first global ambassadors. None of that would have happened if she quit in her first couple of years. And she didn't make much money at all. But she knew that she needed to make a commitment, number one, and build her skill sets. And the other thing that you all need to have to write down is when you make a commitment, you got to understand, be realistic as business people. Be realistic as business people that you need to build the skill sets up where you're going to earn the money that you deserve. You got to build your skill sets up. So with me, I made a commitment day one I would never quit. So I've never quit on any company. I never quit in my life. Okay. And number two, I fell in love with my dream. So that was my purpose. I was living my life on purpose instead of what the most of the world does is live it on default. Number three, I knew that when I started, you know, I joke around, but it's true. When I started in this industry, on a scale of 1 to 10, I was probably a -10. I needed a lot to learn. I needed to increase my confidence. I needed to learn how to prospect. I needed to learn how to sell. I needed to learn how to become a leader. I needed to learn how to prospect. I needed to learn how to follow up. So all these skill sets, I worked diligently every single day to build my skill sets. And what happened is, you know, yes, I had an incredible start because of my commitment, because of my ignorance and fire in my first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. But then the system had to take over. I'm going to talk about the system. And I needed to work on my skill sets so I can make the kind of money that I wanted to attain my dreams and my goals. So this is important that we help our distributors understand this point. In the next 3 to 5 years, you need to work on your skill sets every single day. So one of my skill sets that I developed was I fed my mind with prosperity, abundance, hope, love, achievement. Every single day, an hour a day, I'm doing that. The last 27 years. Think about that, how that has helped me over the last 27 years. You know, in our first year in NHT, it was a very difficult year. You know, the challenges that we had was unsurmountable. We still did $20 million in sales, but one challenge after another challenge after another challenge, and that's what happens with startups. You know, and in business, this is what happens. You're in leadership. You're defined by how you deal with the challenges. And then we had September 11th. Well, probably almost everybody quit. Can you think about that? Where you have a traumatic event, and we were just in North America at the time where everybody quits, you know? And prior to that, we had opened Australia, did business for a month. I was down there for a month in August. We did $1 million in sales our first month there, and the government closed us down because of our product. They had to reclassify the product as a medical product, which is Allura. So if you only have one product, you're in trouble. So and then September 11th happens, and almost everybody quits. You know, and most people today call Dan and I lucky, but we're the only two. And there was a third one, Frances, who passed away last year. God bless her soul, in her 80s. But Dan and I are the only ones here that signed up the first year. And everybody calls us lucky because we had vision. We had a dream. We were on purpose. We were committed to a fault. And commitment will always win. The people that are committed, because it's one of God's incredible universal laws and principles, will always win. Just think about it. Who do you want to work with in the future? Do you want to work with someone who's been in 5 companies in the last 10 years? Because more than likely they'll join another company. You can never build a business with those types of people. And if you're one of those people that have been involved with a lot of companies over the last 3 or 4 years, just think about your last 4 or 5 years or 10 years. Has it worked for you? Maybe you've made some money, but all that work, you have not developed a residual income. And that is why most people join, or when they really believe in network marketing, is the opportunity to earn passive income. That's the dream. That's the freedom, the lifestyle that this industry gives. So let's talk about how to do that as a team. So just think about it. I've been in a process where I've taken my business from 1,000 distributors to 10,000 distributors to 100,000 distributors and more. So for those of you who want to do that, you need to follow the steps that I have done, because if you don't do it in the beginning, it's very difficult to change the culture within your team. Okay? So very first step is you all have to, and I've already covered this, you all have to make a commitment to your dream. You have to have a purpose. For those of you who haven't read my book, you can go on my website, yjoegarcia.com, download it, Your Best Year Ever. I'm in the process actually getting that book written also in Hindi and a few other languages. It's now in 3 languages. And it talks about your dream. It talks about manifesting your perfect life based on my experiences. So you have to have a purpose. Most people in life and in business, they get started in business and there's no end result. There's no destination that they're going in. So every day their whole mindset is on default. So whatever is coming their way, they're affected by what's coming their way, their challenges. So look at what Dan and we weren't affected by the challenges at all with NHT over the years. We knew in business these things happen. It's how we deal with the challenges that define us as leaders. Okay? So the second step from when you have a dream, the second step is you have to do a business plan. You know, get your sponsor, your upline leader to help you with this. You know, on steamteam.ca, we under first 90 days, there is a getting started manual. There's a getting started training. I know Aditya has an Indian version. You can go to him, and we'll upload that on Steam Team. But it's just a guide to help everyone get started, because that is the most important training there is in the business. I know a lot of you have experience, and we can just bypass some of these steps. But what will happen is you can become successful yourself in a short period of time, 90 days, 120 days. But what will happen is 4 levels, 5 levels, 10 levels, 20 levels deep. Maybe they don't have the skill sets that you have yet. They don't have the charisma that you have, and the duplication stops. So if no one is getting started properly, your business is going to slow down. And you won't grow from 5,000 distributors or 1,000 distributors or 500 distributors to that next level. You will never grow. Okay? I have seen organizations that have gone explosive in the business, and 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, they fall apart because no one in the team is doing the basics. So the getting started is critical in building your business, setting up proper expectations for winning. So I'd much rather teach people the truth when I'm getting them started. If you really want to make $10,000 a month, this is what you need to do. this is what you need to do. So if you want to learn more about how to get to those income levels, go to Steam Team. Under first 90 days, I have a business plan training that you can do, you watch on how to scale your business through a business plan. Okay, because for the sake of time, we don't have time to do it this morning, but go through that training. Okay, so you've got your commitment, you've got your dream, you've got your 3 to 5 year business plan. And the fourth thing now you have to do is you need to duplicate that into your organization. You need to duplicate that into your organization. Duplication is the most overused word in network marketing. People are not duplicatable. I've realized that the great Dalibor Straup, for example, you know, and Dalibor has been with us, and I've had this conversation with him thousands of times when he got started, well over 10 years. You know, it's amazing what Dalibor has been able to accomplish. And in the last year, it's been his biggest year. Just think about it, Dalibor quit earlier. You know, what would have happened to his business? He'd probably still struggle somewhere else. And just because of his commitment and his consistency, which is another thing I'm going to talk about, the success starts to come eventually when you have your mindset and you're aligned with your dream. Okay? So you got your commitment, you got your dream laid out in front of you. Okay? Read my book and how you can manifest that dream and the habits that you have to do to implement daily, like visualizing it every day, 50 minutes a day that you've already achieved it. Third thing that you have to have is getting started, a business plan where you're setting up proper expectations, you're making a commitment. Next 3 to 5 years, you're not going to quit. You're going to build the skill sets, and you're going to teach people to do the same thing. You're going to teach people to do the same thing, which is the fourth thing. Okay, so teaching people is where the money is in this business. If you're not teaching people the basics and then the culture, you're going to have a hard time growing your business past a certain level. This is why you see many network marketers, I call them grinders, is they're grinding all the way to the top. And then when they're at the top, they can't even take a vacation, because when they leave, no business is done in their organization, because everything centers around them. Everything centers around them, not the system. So the system is the training. The system is, you know, the prospecting, how to prospect. So, for example, Dita set up and Safra set up a yrbiz.in in Hindi. We have ynht.com in English. So you can send your prospects there as a first step for those that are really serious. Second step is you follow up with an upline partner. That's the system. The training is the system. You know, the culture that we want to develop is the hour, half an hour to an hour a day of personal development. This is why I suggest everyone that gets started with me is I'm getting them to read The Science of Getting Rich, which you can get on Steam Team under personal development. And I've got a list of books there that I've got exclusive rights to online that you can download for free, not worry about any copyright issues. Why The Science of Getting Rich? Because it's such a simple book that teaches people the laws of the universe. And the laws of the universe, like this law of sowing and reaping, the law of cause and effect, the prosperity law of consciousness, and all these laws that we have, the law of attraction that we have in the universe, is teaching people how to live their life on purpose. How to live their life on purpose. So think about it. Is everyone starting the business correctly in your business? And everyone is following the system. You can see yourself when you get to 500 distributors and then 1,000 distributors. You can start seeing other people on your team doing the same thing. So, for example, when I travel the world, you know, and I'm doing events, you know, one of the greatest, proudest moments I have is our leaders globally are training on stuff that we did 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. They've duplicated us. We no longer have to work a lot in their groups. They're just using us for events and trainings. They are leading the charge themselves. That's how duplication is. You see a big percentage of network marketers that don't do the basics, and they're the issue to their teams, as I shared with you. And when they leave to go on vacation, their businesses basically die. They have nothing going on because they're the issue. So how do you get people into the leadership levels? And this is the last thing I want to talk about. So you're training people to do those basics, to follow those basics. And then what you want to do, so for example, last month I enrolled a lady, businesswoman out of Houston, Texas in the United States, because she has some experience in the industry, but mainly as a customer. So she gave me a commitment. So when I enrolled her, I got her to commit to me at least 3 years. I told her, if you don't commit to me for at least 3 years, you're not going to quit, then you're welcome to sign up with anybody. I'm fine with that. You're welcome to enroll, get some product, but I will not spend my time with you. So that's the posture that when you're building a business, that's what you need to help. Because I tell her, look, it's going to take you 3 to 5 years just to develop the skill sets. I don't know, maybe in 5 months you'll grow faster than anybody else. I've seen it happen over and over again, but I need you to commit to me for at least the next 3 years. So she got started, and first thing I did with her is I said, who do you know is successful? Who do you know is entrepreneurial? Okay. She said, look, I've got a really good friend of mine. We've done business before. She'd be perfect for this. I'm going to go over to her house and show her the products. Okay. She didn't have the products. Show her the presentation. And I said, okay, perfect. Go show her the presentation online. And then I will call in. Just text me. So she came in, put on the presentation. She didn't even know how to do a presentation yet. And I called her. Okay. I called her. And I called her. We spoke to the lady, and the lady ended up coming in at platinum. So she was able to, in 2 weeks, qualify for the Rising Star. Okay. So I had her committed to 3 to 5 years. I also had her focused on getting to the first rank as quick as possible. So we had 2 weeks. She got to Rising Star. Incredible. Her goal again is to get to rank 1 in December, and we're doing presentations. So here's how it works though, is I'm getting her to use the tools. Okay. So next up with her is, because of COVID, we're not able to do this, but she wanted to introduce me to 10 of her top contacts. So we did it on Zoom. Okay. So what I had her do was I had her do the product. Okay, to these 10 people. So we focused on 2 products, and she explained it perfectly. I did the presentation. Okay, the following week, she had 2 people on a Zoom, okay, that already looked at the presentation. I went on, did some more, and she did the compensation plan. So she did the products and compensation plan. Next time that I get on with her is when we have a group presentation, is she's going to do the business and the comp plan, and I'll just go in there, do a testimonial, and maybe share some of the products. So I'm getting her to do it, and I'm there watching. So this is how you develop leadership. So for those of you, I know Zubina, you had a great presentation successful last week. So as you're doing live presentations, what you want to do is you get your people to the front of the room, little by little, the ones that show that are focused, that are committed, and are doing the business. You get them up in front of the room to speak. Even if they're horrible, get them to speak. The more they do it, the more they're going to get into leadership. And the more leaders you develop, the more money you're going to make. And that's one of the quickest ways that you can develop growth in your organization. Don't do it all yourself, because we have a tendency for our leadership, for our ego, to because we're master presenters to do it all. And what happens is you're not teaching anybody the skill sets. We always want the best speakers up there, you know, to close the people. And I'm always telling people, get people up to do the products, get them up to do the presentation, the comp plan, you know, get them to do something, so, or host. So that this is how you develop leadership. This is how you develop the confidence. Don't do it all yourself. That's how you. That's another way of developing leadership and getting yourself to the next step. So, guys, I have a lot more to talk about. Maybe we'll get on again. I can go on for. You know, I've been known to do weekend seminars without any notes on so many different topics, and it's just coming from the heart. It's from experience. I hope that all of you just take my steps to heart. The quickest way to success, I need you all to write this down. The quickest way to success is follow and do or model the people that are already there. And if you model them, and the steps they took, and this is why I went back all the way back to my beginning of this industry and as an entrepreneur. You model my philosophy, you model my actions, you model my steps that I've given you, you will get the same results. It's just logical. And that's the easiest way to get success, is just duplicate the ones that are already there. By modeling. Don't reinvent the wheel. You know, leaders do this all the time, or people do this all the time, where they're always reinventing the wheel. They're always trying to find a better way. I had a gentleman last year in our group who comes from an engineering background. Aditya would relate to this, where he called me up and said, Joe, I've got a path to global ambassador. I worked on it. I want to show it to you. It took him 3 months to develop this plan. 3 months. And in those 3 months, he never talked to anybody about the business. Okay? I looked at this plan and it was incredible. It was so detailed oriented. It blew me away. But he never did the business. He took so much time in developing all these things that he was going to do. And it was so intricate, but he never did the business. So the rule of thumb is I'd rather have someone follow the steps, just learn as they go. That's the great part of our business. You can earn money and learn as you go. And the steps that I've shared with so people don't make the same mistakes that I did. In my first year in NHT, and I wish I had my old planner here, is I spoke to over 900 people. I connected to 3 people a day. So a lot of people ask me, Joe, how did you become successful? How did you do so much business the first few years in NHT, starting from scratch? And ladies and gentlemen, we didn't bring our care team into NHT. We kept the company separate. We started from scratch here. We gave the opportunity for these distributors to come over, but most of them didn't. We started from scratch. In my first year, I connected to over 900 people. And on the phone, we had no videos. It was all phone calls. And what happened during that process, even though I had 8 years of experience in the industry, is the time I put into my business, the prospecting, I got really good at prospecting. You know, by the time I got to 200, 300, 400 people, and we had very limited tools back then. It was just all phone work, no story. As I got really good, I got better, and I just worked the numbers, and the people came. And everything I've shared with you, I started to really, after the first year, implement these basics into the business because I saw the results, because I wanted duplication. I didn't want to have a business where 5 years later, I was spending all this time working and not getting anywhere. I wanted duplication. I didn't want the business fall apart and then start again. Business fall apart. Sometimes that has to happen for a new wave to happen. So a little tip before I end here is when someone tells you how to, can you tell me more information on this product? Okay, the tendency for all of us is spend an hour with a person and tell them everything you know about the product. Here's the challenge with that is most successful people, and these are the types of people that you want in your organization, will tell themselves, I can't do what you just did. I don't have the time to do what you just did. And you're not developing leadership. So what you want to do is you want to point and click. You want to send that person to the training on Steam Team on that product, or a company video on that product. Go watch that and come back to me. If you have any more questions, then come back to me. So you're teaching them the power of learning. That's the other way that you develop leadership, is you show them where they can get the information. So for example, last night, I had a text from one of my distributors in Florida, and she wanted to know about, for me to explain a certain promotion that we have in the United States. I said, look, read this, go find it, read it. If you have any questions, you come back to me. It explains it all perfectly there. Another person on Saturday asked me, Joe, can you tell me more information about STEM Renew? I said, have you watched the videos? If you watched Dr. Ben's STEM Renew presentation, which we'll have hopefully soon in India. And she said, no. Can you explain it to me? I said, no, go and watch that video. Go and watch that training. And if you have any questions afterwards, you can come back to me. So I'm teaching people where to find the information, 5 minutes, point and click. So you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours a day teaching people how to build a business. Someone asked me the other day also, Joe, how do I prospect? Wow, we've got tons of trainings, Dalabor's internet prospecting training that you can find on Steam Team. I know under India, we have several of his videos that he did several months ago on recruiting online and the steps. And my path to success recruiting training you can find on Steam Team. I just point people to that. Watch it. If you have any questions, call me back. So that's another way that you can duplicate your business effectively without spending too much time on those basics with people. You teach them where to find information. That's what the tools are there to help them grow the business and develop. So I wanted to end on a great note. We had an incredible month in India last month. I'm so proud of our team, starting with Adita, the leadership he has provided, Safraz, Zubino, and her great leadership. I'm incredibly excited about what's happening here, her business, Moya, and what's happened in her business. I know there's so many others that I can recognize right now, and the leadership of Dalibor and Loris, and getting India started and the vision they had there. Incredible success. I'm so excited. I know on Friday, the month of November officially ends Friday morning, India time. So the company is going to be able to recognize the great work of our Indian distributors. And I want to help you all understand also is the promotions and how special India is to NHT. We all understand, and we all understand how big the India market is and the potential. Do you realize that in India right now started the same time that China did, basically in network marketing in the 90s? India is number 25 in direct sales now in network marketing in the world. A country like Canada, which I live in, has 35 million people, is number 10. Just think about that, okay? China is not tied for the US as number 1 in 2018 because of the lockdowns that they've had in MLM, network marketing, in 2019, and the lockdown of COVID, their numbers changed drastically in 2019. But it just shows you the potential, the huge potential of India in the next 10 years. Think about it, a country that size, and they're only 25 right now, compared to where China is, around this very similar market with regards to population and average income. Just think about the growth that's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years in India. And NHT, I promise you, NHT is on the cutting edge of these companies in India. We're committed 100% to that market. And speaking of commitment, if you look at the promotions that we've had in India, you guys are having like 3, 4, 5 promotions every single month. The company also had the promotion of 1 month qualifier to get to ranks, and also paid out on the first month the bonus, the achievers bonus. Everywhere else in the world, we never had that. Most markets around the world is living with one business promotion and one product promotion. Whereas in India, we've had several promotions every single month. And it just shows you the commitment the company has to the India market. I know we've had some issues because of the growth of the business and the stock issues. The company has worked diligently to overcome those. And we all appreciate our patience of our leaders there. But just think about what NHT has done for India in the last 5 months. And we're continuing to drive it in India because of the great leadership that we have in this market. I'm fully committed, ladies and gentlemen, speaking from Global Ambassador Joe Garcia. I want as many India global ambassadors. I can see it very clearly. I can see it very clearly. And the last thing is just understanding the global nature of the business. You drive the business locally, but you think globally. And if you look at our North America business, Canada and the United States, or if you go on to a back office in North America, you'll see much of our flyers, our business promotions are done in English and in Mandarin. And the reason why, we have massive groups in North America that are Mandarin speaking. Massive groups from Huna to Mali to Mike in New Jersey. Massive groups. These are global ambassadors, and because of the groups, everything's translated in Mandarin. So how did that happen? Is we started in North America, started developing a business in China. And in China, there's Chinese people all over the world. So they started recruiting their friends and family back in North America. So think about in India, how many hundreds of millions of people around the world that were born in India or have family that were born in India as first, second, or third generation. You fly into the city of Toronto, where I live, you think you've flown into Delhi, because everyone that works in the airport, from the taxi drivers to the people inside the terminals, are from Indian descent. Think about the massive potential that we have in growing this business globally. And this is why, another reason why I'm excited about India. We start building within India, which we're growing massively in India. And what will happen is you'll know people that's in you sponsor someone, know someone in the United States, who knows someone in China, who knows someone in Hong Kong, who knows someone in Malaysia, Thailand, wherever, Russia. We have this global infrastructure that can help you guys. So as you guys are building your teams and people pop up in your market, in these markets, please reach out to your upline so we can help them tap into those systems in those countries. And so we have a global system that we've created with their own specific training, with their own specific culture, and we can tap these people in no matter where it is around the world. And that is one of the major advantages to building an NHT Global. Here's the difference. Yeah, there are a lot of companies that are gone global that you can join. The problem is most of their master distributors are not, or top distributors are not accessible like Dan and I are. So we have built a culture from every team around the world. We are very accessible. You know, we are the same people that we signed up 20 years ago. We've remained humble, and our vision, our passion is to help as many people change their lives in their health and in their beauty, and more importantly, their financial and conscious level. And we want to duplicate this all over the world. So just think about how you can grow your business locally, But continue to ask people, who do you know in these other markets? Help them expand their thinking, because most of the pioneering have been done here globally. And NHT is still committed to growing internationally. So this year alone, we were expected to open up in Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, Bolivia, and Colombia. Unfortunately, because of COVID, everything's been delayed. But as we start to, as the pandemic starts to slow down, vaccines next year, you'll start to see a lot of these countries start to open officially to expanding the NHT footprint. And the company has close to $100 million cash in the bank, $100 million cash in the bank to fund all these expansions globally, to fund in your business 100% debt free. You know, there are a lot of companies out there in NHT, outside of NHT, that are do more volume than NHT, but they are in huge debt. You know, there was one company recently, and I can't believe this, they're privately held. They bought another company for $30 million. And they had to borrow that money to buy that company. And that company, which is about an $800 million annual company, not only had to borrow that money, but their ranking, debt ranking in the United States went down another level. I think they're now down to B+. So when you do that as a company, what happens is when you want to borrow money, you're going to pay more interest rates. So if I was a leader in that company, I would be very concerned over their finances. Where are the money going? What are the owners doing with the money when they're doing all this volume and they're having difficulties with their debt? NHT, everything is 100% transparent. So guys, I've got a Russian training I have to jump onto now. Story of my life here today. Thank you very much, Adita and Safraz, for inviting me today. This has been recorded, so I'll put that up line for those that haven't attended. Let's make December another winning month, and which will prepare us for an incredible 2021 in India. And I'm looking forward to visiting India very soon in the future when we actually have our official launch event in India once the pandemic is over, and we're looking forward to it. So thank you, guys. God bless all of you. Happy holidays. Let's make December our best month ever. Ciao.